On December 22nd, 2018, I made it all the way to Clifton, New Jersey to the local metal bar Dingbats to check out Mike LePond's Silent Assassins. Opening for them that night were Attacker and Power Theory. I caught up with Alan Tecchio and Mike LePond 1 week after the show, and here's the little chats I had with them and what they had to say after playing their first show together as MLSA.
Seismic sound here. Got a special guest that I got to see a week ago after taking my crazy trip. Now he's on his own crazy trip on his motorbike. But seeing you last week was quite a little dream that I had since hearing the project. Alan Tecchio from Watchtower, Mike LePond, Silent Assassins, Hades. Dude, how you doing out there?
Awesome, Luke. How are you, man?
Oh man, I'm still waking up, but we got our mild Christmas weather that's kind of making things feel good during the holidays.
I agree. That's why I'm on the bike today.
That's a good way of getting out and enjoying the holidays. Have you done anything, or have you just stuck around town to hang out with family and whatnot?
We hosted at our house for Christmas stuff, so we stayed home and just did all the cooking and cleaning and stuff. It was all good. I'd prefer that than having to travel anywhere, you know.
I don't blame you. Yeah, keep it all in one spot because things can get pretty chaotic.
Exactly.
Look, man, it's already been a week, and it's exciting at least on the end to see a project that probably a lot of people on the surface saw as a solo project and wouldn't think that it'd be an entity that could actually do live shows. And taking a trip down to Clifton and finally seeing Mike LePond, Silent Assassins, play some live material from 2 albums already out. How does it feel looking back on it? It's already been a week, man. How does it feel seeing that project come to life on stage?
Well, I got to be honest, Luke. It was very surreal because I've played that room, Dingbats, where we played many times in many different bands, and I've had some very good shows there, like Hades Reunion, Nonfiction Reunion, but I've never seen it as packed and with as an enthusiastic crowd like we had that night, singing all the words and pumping their fists. I mean, it really felt like Europe in a lot of ways because the reaction was so over the top and there was so much engagement from the audience. And there were so many people like yourself that travel great distances with, you know, the Europeans don't mind traveling 7 to 10 hours to go see a show, but in America, that's pretty much unheard of.
Yeah, exactly. It's enough trying to get everybody local to the scene to come out, but
exactly.
Yeah, it was a nice packed house and a lot of different people. I think I noticed a lot of even different individual other band members that were out in the fray checking out what you guys have been doing.
Yeah, it was cool to see Ross the Boss there from Manowar. That was definitely a treat.
Yeah, that was really cool to see him out. Look, can you go into probably either some kind of detail about how you and Mike met up and that you decided to do this project?
Yeah, for sure. So I have to credit Jack Frost with introducing us because I've known of Mike LePond in the Jersey scene, you know, my whole career, but I never really had any interaction with him until I played in Seven Witches. And he and I are both on a few Seven Witches records. Ironically, we're not on, I don't think, any of the same albums.
Yeah, that's what I noticed actually too.
Yeah, but that's just one of those quirky things, you know. But we played a lot of shows together as Seven Witches, and it was at one of those gigs in Long Island when we were opening for Armored Saint, where he had actually approached me just a few years ago to, you know, sing on his solo stuff. And I said, well, you know, send me the stuff and I'll check it out. And I didn't hear from him for quite a long time. And I think he had some other singers that he was trying to work with. And for whatever reason, you know, lucky for me, that didn't work out with those guys. And so he gave me a call and said, you know, I got all this stuff written. At the time, I was doing the Concepts of Math EP with Watchtower. So I was really busy. Plus, I have a band, Level Field. We just released a record a couple weeks ago on Pure Steel. and I was in the midst of writing all those songs. I said to Mike, I would totally love to play with you because, he's a great guy to work with. He's so easy to work with, and he's super, super talented. I said, but I don't have time to write, all the lyrics and all that stuff. And he goes, no, don't worry, it's all written. So that was a big help, and it was definitely the turning point for me to say yes. I knew I wouldn't be able to deliver for him on time if I had to do all that. And honestly, I don't think he, writes the same way I do. He's more into all the old school metal, medieval stuff.
Yes.
I don't really write about that stuff, so it was actually perfect. I don't mind singing it when it's good songs, and the songs were great. So, we tracked that first record. I guess that's probably like 4 years ago now, and we put out Silent Assassins. We didn't get a chance to play any shows. They were lining up some dates in Europe for us. Those fell apart, and in the meantime, Mike got another record deal. I think it's a 3-album deal, the first of which is the second album we put out, Porn and Prophecy. So that was another jump into the studio with Michael Romeo at his house. That's his guitar player, obviously, from Symphony X, where they record all the Symphony X stuff at Mike's house. And Mike is like not just a phenomenal guitar player; he's a whiz kid engineer and producer. So he's a lot of fun to track vocals with. He's really got it down. He moves really fast, and that for me as a singer, and I think for most players probably, you need a guy who's really fast at the controls, because when you're in a creative streak, you can't be like bogged down by stopping and starting and stopping and starting and waiting and waiting. He's really, really quick, and just a pleasure to work with. So we tracked that stuff, and we finished Porn and Prophecy, released that earlier this year. And I think Mike has the next record written as well. So I'm imagining if we don't do too many more live shows, the next move will probably be to start tracking the third album.
That's crazy, man. That's pretty cool that he's already on top of it and already thinking for the future. So this is as much as it seems like a recording project, it almost seems like it's gonna take probably a new form all on its own.
You never know, man. It's funny to say. I honestly, I'm still stupefied by that show last week. It was so overwhelming that, you really think, I'm 52 years old now, so you remember the heyday when many people came out, all the bands supported one another, and it's just not like that anymore. The world of music and live music especially has dramatically changed. So I'm kind of not ever really expecting too much, and then when something like last Saturday happens, it's just eye-opening and mind-blowing, and you feel so good about just being able to still do it, now this many years later.
Man. Well, look, when it comes to your vocals on Silent Assassins, now, vocally speaking, only because I'm one of those guys that really, this is the first project that I really heard you on, so hearing these recordings are really how I hear your voice normally. Now, if I look back at any of the Watchtower stuff or the Hades stuff, vocally speaking, was there a particular approach that you took on these Silent Assassin tunes that might be different than anything else that you've done?
Well, you know what, Luke? I consider myself a lifelong learner, so I don't ever really think I've perfected anything, and I'm always trying to strive to get better. And for me, I would say the Hades stuff, even the nonfiction stuff, I was still kind of finding my way and trying to find my voice. And I don't think that really happened until I did the Autumn Hour record, which was kind of like the Level Fields record in that it was my own baby. I wrote with mainly one other guy, the guitar player, and that really, it opened me up to like approaching the vocals in very, very different ways. So I could be a little more subtle. I could be a little more gritty. I could still have a clean high vibrato. I could mix it all up and try to just explore, where I can go vocally with all the songs. So with Mike's stuff, he'll give me a little version of the songs with him kind of singing it in falsetto, just so I can hear the melody and where the words go. And then I'll take that and I'll kind of just put my attitude toward it, and I'll try to, use these different vocal approaches to see what works best. And Mike really lets me just run free with that. He never really restricts me with that. It's really cool to have that freedom because, you're trying to grow. Yeah, you're trying to grow and get better. So I don't know if I had a singular approach, but I'm all about like opening up and really letting the air flow through when you're singing and projecting. So I think I was able to do that with these songs because he's written some very challenging vocal parts, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well that's definitely if it means listening to these tracks, man, your range is covering a whole bunch of different places, and you could tell just by the recording that you're giving it full on. Like it sounds like you're in full belt like most times, which would be probably a
Yep.
challenge just on its own.
Yeah, no, I mean, I got Romeo in the studio, encouraging me, and Mike as well. But it really is just a matter of being, in good shape vocally and warming up a little bit before you go, and then just letting it flow.
Well, that's exactly how these two albums come out. There's a real great flow from the first album, and I wasn't too sure when I heard the second one announced. I'm like, so what are they going to do on this one, and how are they going to expand? But what I like about it is that you can hear a clear continuance from album 1 to album 2, but I like how there's some different things that you did, especially on tracks like I Am the Bull, Mulberry Tree, and the big closing number too.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree. I love I Am the Bull. That's one of my favorite songs. And I love all the bass soloing that Mike does. Really showcases his talent. And I think he stepped up the songwriting on the second record, too. It's a little bit more mature.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, the first record is great. It's real straightforward, in-your-face metal. And this one, I think, has just a little bit more depth to it,
I definitely agree with you. That's why I'm already excited to hear what you guys have to offer for even the third one. Look, what are your now that Silent Assassins is going on its thing? What do you see going on with Watchtower and any other projects? I know you gave me that Level Field CD, which I haven't even listened to yet. But put it this way, when I do, you'll hear from me.
Cool. I think you're gonna dig it, man. That's really my baby. That one. And it'll be interesting to hear what your feedback is. I look forward to it. But as far as Watchtower goes, I mean, I still talk to Ron, and I still chat with Rick a little bit on Facebook. I'm not in contact with Doug too much, not for any particular reason, but just those are the two go-to guys that I've had connection with. And Ron just had a baby about a year and a half ago or so I know and that's his first kid. So I think his hands were really, really full.
Yeah, his priorities.
Being Mr. Mom. So I didn't push him. Every time I'd call him, he'd be like, I know you want to do the second EP, because there is a second EP's worth of material, and I actually think those songs are better, in my opinion, than the first EP we did a couple of years ago. So I really want to one day track it and get it out. I don't know that that'll happen, but I'm fully 100% committed to getting it to happen. But I'm like the least important guy in the band. I need those guys to really get it together and practice and record, and they just don't do that as an active band anymore. So there would be a big, big undertaking to do. But I would still love to do it, because there's, thank God, fans out there that want to hear it, and I want to hear it.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, we're all, it's good to know that you're a fan of everything that you're doing. There's some guys that don't seem to love it, genuinely love it as you do, man. Look,
yeah, no doubt.
What do you feel that, because you've seen, at least on your end, recording some of these albums back at the end of the 80s, do you feel that there's a bigger demand for what you're doing now than there was back then? Is there a comparison to be made from the first album you recorded, and that you're starting to get a little buzz and attention? Do you feel there's more attention to what you're doing now?
It's really hard to say, Luke. It's almost like apples and oranges, because it's so different now. You got a lot of other consumers of metal music now that weren't alive back then, whose parents got them into it, you know what I mean? And so there's a very big mix, and it's easy for them to access music, unlike, I was thinking about this the other day, going to a record store and buying the new hot record, and just the smell of the vinyl when you opened it up, and that whole experience is pretty much gone.
Yeah.
And tape trading is how I discovered Watchtower. I was friends with Jason McMaster, the singer, and we were fans of each other's bands, me being in Hades and him in Watchtower. And that friendship is what eventually led me to getting a gig in Watchtower. So those kind of grassroots efforts, it's all online now. And I guess it has a wider reach in some respects, but it's also inundated with so many different styles of music and so many bands in each style that it's not like the old days. Like, when metal first came out, I'm old enough to remember, like, the very first Raven and Exciter and albums like that, when they were the first things you're like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah.
And there was only a handful of those bands, you know what I mean? There really were. And now there's just a lot more to choose from. So I think, extra appreciative now that anybody even cares, because I know how overwhelming it can be.
Oh man, it's like getting another career, and like you said, at age 52, man, you're getting essentially what seems like more exposure, like once again, after all these years. But it's good to hear that you're still vocally in great shape, and that you got the energy to pull off these shows, because there was a lot of energy on stage that you were burning out.
We had a great time. And honestly, Luke, you bring up a good point, because even a guy like you don't even know the stuff I did in the early days, and yet you discovered this and me and whatnot now. That is so cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I'm going to be on my own little discovery path here. I'm sure in the next few years, and I'm going to look in. I'm not going to take years at discovering the old stuff, but I will look on some of the old Watchtower stuff, the old Hades stuff, and really try to get a feel of what you were doing back in the late 80s, man.
I think you'll hear me trying to find my way. Some of this stuff is really cool. There are some pitchy moments on those albums that I really regret leaving on there, but I was so frustrated. It was before auto-tune existed, and I was just like I let the pressure really get to me a lot in the studio, whereas I feel really liberated and free to do what I want to do. And I don't like to use auto-tune at all. I like to make sure my engineers keep me honest, you know?
Yeah, exactly, right? Well,
yep.
It sounds honest to me, and at least it looks honest to me, man. I can't wait to see the next show. I can't wait to see what you guys can bring possibly in the next couple of years, man.
I tell you what, man. Me too.
I'm excited. Look, Pawn and Prophecy, man. I did a top 60 release of this year, and to throw a number at it, to throw it to the dartboard, I put you guys at number 6, because the material is great. It's rivaling releases like Judas Priest's Firepower. Riot released their new album, their Armor of Light, which is fantastic as well. I think that you and Mike, you guys have put together something that can even rival what those guys are doing, which is amazing on its own, and it's all considering the production method behind it, the actual recording method, and what you guys had to bring to the table. Even a little project like this can go through and rival, touring mammoths like what Judas Priest have done over the last 50 years. I think you guys
thanks, Liz. Thanks.
You should be super proud of it, man, and I'm stoked to hear what you guys have to offer in the future.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I'm psyched for the number 6. That's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, look, well, and it can only go skyward from there. Thanks for taking the time, Alan, man. We're going to do this again in the future. This is really all I need, and I can't wait to see you again, man.
All right, listen, Luke, Happy New Year to you, brother. Thanks for the interview, and yeah, give me some feedback on the level fields when you get around to it.
I definitely will. You'll hear from me, man.
Sounds cool, Luke.
Right on, Alan. Take care, man.
Take care. Enjoy the weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Seismic sound here. I got my buddy Mike LePond on the line. It's been, I think, a few years since we did this, Mike. I look back at it, it's already been 4 years, 4.5 years, because I think we chatted back like in April of 2014 before the first album came out. And now this is a week after you did your first show with an actual lineup. And man, how are things looking back on the show after it's been done a week ago?
Yeah, now that I had a week to kind of look back on things and how it all transpired, I think it was a major success. You know, my fear, you know, when I would be thinking about doing shows would be, what if I played to 20 people? So people all the time were asking me if I was going to play live, including yourself, and I thank you for that.
Worth the wait.
And that was always my fear. But so when I decided to actually play, I really needed to promote it really heavily. And I did the best I could and actually promoted it 6 months in advance. And I'm pretty sure everybody knew it was going on by the time I was done promoting. And the turnout was better than I could have ever hoped for. And the audience reaction was better than I could have ever hoped for. And, the band performed really, really well. So I'm really proud of them. And it was a lot of rehearsals. And I was really tough on them in the rehearsals, but they all came through.
The results, man.
I couldn't be happier. And I thank you for coming as well.
Oh, hey, man, it was, I know that I was slightly worried only because, at the beginning, I'm like, did seem like there was a steady flow of people at the beginning when the first band was playing, but as Power Theory, the first band was playing, I didn't notice it, but by the time they were done, I'd look around, I'm like, man, this place is already full. And then the second band went on, Attacker, they did well with the full house, and then you guys had you got the chance to kick everybody right in the ass and right out the door. So it was it was a super fun show, and you guys played together super well. That's I'm thoroughly impressed as a guy that just drove 11 hours straight just to get to Clifton, New Jersey, and to walk into a tiny metal bar, but that's all we need, and we can count on it. And when you could pack that tiny bar right up with a bunch of friends and a bunch of great metalheads, we're gonna have a good night, and that's exactly what we had.
Yeah, I was blown away by the sacrifices many people made to come to this show. Including you, people. We had someone come from as far as Japan. So, going in, I knew it was a big deal to a lot of people to see this show. So I had to make it, as great as possible. And even the bands that played with us, I tried to get really good bands in the same style and make it a real classic heavy metal night, and everybody was just totally pro. Sound man was great, and it was just awesome. So I'm very happy, and in a way I'm a little relieved too, because all that work, constant promotion, I can relax now.
Yeah, exactly. The hard work's been done, man, over the course of the 6 months of promoting and all the rehearsing. But it, man, in one moment, it encapsulated everything that I think you guys needed to, and I think you left everybody with quite a friggin' amazing impression about what the possibilities of the band can offer. I did speak to Alan there yesterday morning, and he mentioned to me that probably a curious question, because I don't think I even know the history of it. He mentioned that it was, I think, possible that he wasn't necessarily the first singer to be considered for the project. Do you know, did you work with any other singers or try to rehearse with any other singers when it came to putting together the solo project?
Yeah, when I was thinking about doing the project, I did talk to a few other singers, but the problem was, some of these singers lived really far away, like in as far as Europe. And, I really wanted to be there with them in the studio, you know what I mean? And I really wanted to work with them. I just didn't want to try to communicate someone who lives halfway around the world. But I did try out a bunch of singers, actually. I would send them the music, and then they would send me their ideas for it. And in the end, Alan, he lives and breathes that style, so he knows it so well. I really wouldn't have to work with him too hard on it, because he'll kind of know what the songs need. And that's exactly what happened. He came into the studio, and he was well prepared, which was really great. And he was able to do 2 songs in one session every time, and it just made everything run so smooth. And he's totally professional. And beyond that, we're very, very good friends. He's a great guy, no ego at all, and it just makes everything go much smoother that way.
It totally comes across that way. Meeting Alan and getting to know a bit of his personality. I like that. He seems like a very high energy, going with the flow kind of guy. And it's great to see that he's that and even how you guys all interacted and jived with each other was really cool to see too. Tell me, what's it with the other band members? We're talking Lance, Dan, and I think Tom. How did each of these 3 find their way playing with you for the project?
Right. Well, we'll start with the guitar player. The guitar player is his name is Lance Barnwald, and I'm trying to think where I actually met him first. I guess I just kind of met him from the scene. He's much younger than I am, and what I noticed about him is he's 23 years old, but
I didn't even know he was that young.
He could play the old school metal style of lead guitar, and he could also do the newer shredding style of lead guitar. So he was really an amazing guitar player in my eyes. So I had always wanted to do something with him, and when he came on board, he was just great. He did a couple of lead guitar spots on the Porn and Prophecy album. And, I was just blown away by it. The drummer, Dan Prestup, I kind of met him, I guess, kind of the same way, just kind of on the Jersey scene, seeing bands play and getting to know people. Again, he's a younger guy with a lot of energy. And what I like about Danny is he's got such a love to play. He just loves to play. He don't care what it is. And, when he does a show, he'll devote his life to it. You know what I mean? He puts all his energy into it. So, and he really did great. I'm really proud of him.
Mm-hmm, he did, yeah.
The keyboard player, his name is Tony Stahl. And
Tony.
He's more of my age. He's been around the Jersey scene for a while. And I knew I wanted a keyboard player rather than a second guitar player. I wanted definitely something more atmospheric. So, he had been asking me, for a few years, hey, if you ever do something live, let me know, So I brought him on, and he was, totally professional. He worked with me, I was really specific about what I wanted in the songs, and he took the time and put it all together. And in the end, all these guys really worked hard, and I'm really proud of them all. And so if I do something live again, I would definitely go to the same guys.
It's no man. They brought it and they left it right up on stage with them. But I could tell, particularly I think with Dan as well, that everybody was giving 110%. I mean, like, and these are the I can remember the drum tracks with a lot of these songs, and a lot of them are it's straightforward, but man, it's a lot of notes, it's a lot of energy, and for a guy to keep up with how the songs were done up, man, guys like Dan, amazing job. And Lance and Tony did great jobs as well. You got a really nicely put together project there. Do you see this being possibly a full-time touring unit in the future? Are you taking it just day by day kind of thing?
Well, I mean, I would love for it to be a full-time act, and I'd love to. It would be great to take it on the road and do that. But it's such a hard process these days. As you know, there are so many bands all over the world, and it's just really hard to kind of break through and get something going. I mean, granted, I mean, I'm really happy with the first two albums that I put out, and I would love for something to happen, but it's really slow trying to get fans and get people to notice you, and get radio stations to play you, get anyone to notice. So it's a long road, but it's okay, because I have Symphony X, and when Symphony X is off the road and not doing anything, I'll just revert back to this project. So, I mean, it's a great, for me, it's a very fulfilling project. I mean, because it's kind of the style of heavy metal that I grew up with, and that I wanted to get out there to the fans that know me. So, I'm going to continue to push on. There's always obstacles. But every time there's an obstacle, there's a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel as well. So, and you know what? Even if a few people like it, that's enough for me to keep going.
Oh man, and with the handful of people that I know that I can talk to about it, man, we love the project that you're doing. I think we already heard that. Well, talking to Alan, I think he mentioned something that there's already material for a third album that's possibly already together. Is that true?
Yes, actually, yeah, you're going to be the first one that I've told this to. I've already started recording the drums for a third record.
Oh man!
So that's it's already in the works, and and the great part is there's no deadline from a record company. There's nothing like that. So I could take my time and just make it as good as I can possibly make it. And, when it's done, then it's done.
I like it, man. Take all the time that you need, because, well, I mean, Pawn and Prophecy just came out, not even almost 12 months ago. And I can tell you, at least I just did my top 60 of the year. I told Alan, and I'm going to tell you, man, number 6. And I mean, you're rivaling releases of bands like Priest releasing Firepower. The guys from Riot did a great album. Ghost's new album. Like, man, it is a great traditional metal album with the perfect blend of stuff I know that I love, and that I just try to forward it to people that I know that I think would be interested. But no, man, you're there's aspects of it I already find that that's some parts better than the debut, but also in line with the debut, because there's familiarity there with it. But no, man, pat on the back. You've released a couple of awesome albums.
Thank you, man. I mean, to come in at number 6 is amazing. I appreciate that so much, and especially coming from someone like you who really has his ear to the ground on all the bands that are out. And I just think that in this metal scene that's going on in 2018, I think there's a place for just a good, solid, traditional heavy metal album to be out there, And what I try to do is have a traditional heavy metal album, but not make it sound dated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Try to have a little just enough modernization in there, but still keeping that, the guitar riff as the centerpiece of each song, just like it was, just like how it started with all the great bands.
Very much still some guitar music, man. And I'm glad that when as a guy that's known to play bass, but we know that you got some guitar riffs in mind and that you got ideas. Like I said, I'm already excited for what you got cooking up this next go around. And speaking of cooking up, Symphony X, I hear. Do I hear that Symphony X is in the studio now? Is their work already getting done for the follow up to Underworld?
Well, we're not in the studio. We were talking about what to do. And we felt that we didn't tour enough for the Underworld record. So what we're planning to do is next year we're going to do a tour of Europe. So we're confirming all those dates right now, and hopefully we'll have an announcement soon, a formal announcement. So we're going to do a tour, and then we're going to see what we want to do after that. We're going to take it day by day. We haven't. The last show that we actually played was in October of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's been a while. So I think we just want to, kind of get back on our feet and get in there on the road, and then see how it feels from there.
Perfect. Well, like I said, take the time that you need, because I know that at least with when it comes to Symphony X and when it comes to you, man, the right amount of time that you put into it always seems to yield some of the best results. We get some of the best music out of you guys, and we get some of the best performances. So, man, take all the time in the world, and we know that we're gonna, I know at least on my part, I get out there and try to catch you guys whenever you're on tour. So I can't wait. I can't wait, and keep writing, keep on putting it together for us, man, because we love you for it.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, I mean, this year, I guess 2018, 2017 as well. 2017 and 2018, although Symphony X did not play, I was probably more busy than I've ever been.
It's crazy.
Ross the Boss was touring like a madman. I don't know where this guy gets all that energy. And besides Ross the Boss, and so I did a record with him.
Yes, that's right.
Played on probably, as far as 2018 goes, I probably played bass on at least 7 full releases that came out this year of bands, So it's been a crazy 2 years, but I'm a workaholic. I love what I do, and you know what? The fans are so important to me. They tell me, they appreciate what I do, and they want me to do more, and I try to. So it gives me the inspiration just to keep going.
Well, Matt, and I totally forgot about the Ross the Boss stuff too, because that's right. You went on tour with that. You recorded the album and you went on tour with them, like, and I know that you're one of those few guys. If you look up on Metal Archives and you look under Mike LePond's name, the guy with all the band accolades next to him, all these bands that you worked with, did projects for, and that you continue to work with through and through, man. Yeah, you are a busy guy, and at least on your end, it's always great to stay busy because it keeps you in touring shape, and it keeps you in creative shape. So glad at least that was. I know Ross's stuff. I did want to go out and check out. How probably one last thing. How was it touring with Ross these last couple of years?
Well, it's it's an amazing thing for me because when I was in high school and college, Manowar was one of my favorite bands, and I would close the door to my bedroom, and I'd crank Manowar, and I would start playing the bass along with the songs, and I'd pretend I was like Joey DeMeo, and then all these years later, I would look to my left, and like there's the guy.
Yeah, he's right there.
And so it's been an amazing thing to be on the stage with Ross the Boss, playing the classic Manowar stuff and seeing the reactions of the Manowar fans, because it's, they would be basically doing what I would be doing, So it's great, and he's a great guy, and he incredibly fair guy, and he's very loyal to us all. He's like an older brother to me.
Oh man, and the breadth of material that he has from those, from the 80s, the 80s stuff that he released with them. Oh man, I know why you'd be excited playing with that guy, because there's some great metal songs came out of basically what he put together with that band.
Oh yeah. I mean, those first 6 albums are,
you can't compare.
I know them even before I had to learn them for Ross. I mean, I knew them back and forth anyway because I was such a fan. And the Silent Assassin stuff is heavily influenced by Manowar. There's some songs that are really modeled after their style. So, I owe that band a lot as far as influence goes, and now all these years later, it's amazing to be playing with one of your heroes.
Exactly, man. You're living the dream that so few of us get to actually, be a part of. But it's great to be able to partake to it and to be a part of that. Tell me, we know that Ross was there whenever Silent Assassins was playing live. Did you get any feedback from Ross regarding the whole show?
Well, first of all, he said he was going to come to the show. I didn't know if he would really come because he works in Queens, and it's kind of, with the traffic, it's kind of far. But he did show, and he wrote to me the next day, giving me a pat on the back, and it was an amazing thing to have him there. It really meant so much to me, but I guess that we're like brothers, and so he liked the show, he said, and he's looking to get back on the road in 2019. He's already lined up a couple of festivals in Europe, so he's not stopping. And I think he wants to do another record next year too. So
you're going to be a busy guy here coming up, man. Well, look, that's awesome. And the other guys you play with there, Mark Lopez and Steve Balinese, they're how are they working within that band?
Yeah, it's a real the band is like a real brotherhood, you know. Mark is a total team player.
Sounds like $1 million
Pride in
too.
the band, loves the band, and Steve joined the band this year, and he's a really, really good drummer, really solid,
Yeah.
and just great to play to. You know, it makes my job a lot easier. So, you know, we go out there and we play Man of War with all the heart that I believe Man of War had, and the people seem to like it. You know, I think there's a niche, because I think there's a lot of Man of War fans that they're missing the old stuff and they want to hear it, and Ross is providing that. So you know, we've been doing pretty good.
I love it, man. Look, keep it up, Mike. Keep up all the great work, all the projects that you do. I know I try to just be on top of it and just try to go through some of it. But it's we'll save that probably for a future's chat. But look, man, thanks for taking the time. This goes a long way, at least in my books, and I can't wait to see you again on stage and to see you again in person, man.
Absolutely, dude. Thank you. I can't thank you enough for all the support you've given me since I've met you, and I wish you all the best. And I'm sure I'll see you soon, either hanging out at a club or on the stage, and we'll chat soon, bro.
Yeah, man. We will find a way, because that's life. Just does that sometimes.
Right. Okay, bro. Then I'll talk to you soon, and thanks again for the interview. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thanks for taking the time, Mike. We will see you very soon, man.
Okay, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.